Manifestando Riqueza M 2026, a fórmula espiritual plus financiera, que está criando millonarios no YouTube. Introduction. Manifesting Wealth in 2026, the spiritual plus financial formula exploding on YouTube. There is a reason why millions of people are searching every day for terms like wealth manifestation, law of attraction for money, spirituality and prosperity, how to get rich in 2026, and millionaire mindset. It isn't just a desire for money. It is a profound shift in collective consciousness. The world has entered a new economic, technological, and spiritual phase, and those who fail to understand this transformation will be left behind. This content was created for those ready to exit the cycle of scarcity, reprogram their minds, and align energy, strategy, and practical action to access a new level of financial prosperity. In 2026, making money is no longer just about working hard. It is about working intelligently, consciously, and in alignment with the invisible laws that govern financial success. Modern spirituality has ceased to be an abstract concept and is now applied directly to business, investments, online income generation, and sustainable wealth building. Major entrepreneurs, investors, and content creators have already realized this, which is exactly why this type of video is exploding on YouTube, generating millions of views, high retention rates, and aggressive monetization. The synchronicity of success. If you have reached this point, it wasn't by accident. The algorithm doesn't deliver this type of content to just anyone. There is a synchronicity happening right now. This video was designed to activate your financial consciousness, unlock limiting beliefs, and show you how to unite spirituality and money in a practical, strategic, and realistic way. Throughout this content, you will understand why so many people work their entire lives and remain stuck in scarcity, while others seem to attract opportunities, money, and growth almost naturally. The truth is simple and simultaneously uncomfortable. Most were never taught how to handle money at an energetic, emotional, and mental level. From an early age, we are programmed with negative beliefs about wealth and success. Phrases like money is hard, wealth is for the few, or spirituality and money don't mix, have created deep blocks that prevent financial manifestation. In 2026, this programming is being shattered, and those who understand this first build a massive advantage. The Prosperity Formula. In this video, you will discover the formula that unites applied spirituality, financial psychology, and modern income generation strategies. We aren't talking about empty promises, magical thinking, or shallow motivational quotes. We are talking about consciousness, decision-making, discipline, and action aligned with universal laws studied by psychology, neuroscience, and spiritual philosophy. This combination is what differentiates those who merely consume content from those who actually transform their financial reality. Throughout the following chapters, you will learn how the abundance mindset functions, how to reprogram the subconscious for money, how to align your emotional frequency with prosperity, how to apply this practically to real income sources like digital assets and conscious investing. Commitment to evolution. If you are only looking for entertainment, this video is not for you. But if you want to understand why spirituality has become a powerful tool for financial growth, stay until the end. Every chapter is built to expand your consciousness and take you one step further. The deeper you go, the more clarity you will have on how money truly works in 2026. Before we continue, take a moment to commit to your own evolution. If this message is already resonating with you, like the video now, this helps the YouTube algorithm deliver this message to others ready to prosper. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content on spirituality, money, and millionaire mindsets. This simple gesture already aligns you with the decision to grow. Deep breath. Keep an open mind. Let go of everything you've been told about money until today. From this moment on, you are accessing a new perspective on wealth, prosperity, and personal power. Reliable references and conceptual trends. Financial psychology, the psychology of money, Morgan Housel. Neuroscience, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Studies on subconscious reprogramming and mental habits. YouTube trends. High-income spiritual/finance niches for 2026. Outlier Kit, Careers Knowledge. Chapter 1: The New Financial Consciousness. Why spirituality became essential for getting rich in 2026. In 2026, talking about money without talking about consciousness is repeating an outdated model that no longer works. The world has changed, the economy has shifted, human behavior has evolved, and most importantly, our relationship with money has undergone a profound transformation. Today, financial prosperity is no longer tied solely to physical effort, degrees, or hours worked. Rather, it depends on an individual's level of consciousness, mental clarity, and internal alignment. This is exactly where spirituality stops being something mystical or distant and takes a central role in creating real, sustainable wealth. For decades, the traditional financial system taught that earning money depended exclusively on hard work, extreme sacrifice, and luck. This model created millions of exhausted, frustrated people trapped in survival cycles. In 2026, this paradigm has definitively collapsed. The new economic landscape favors those who understand the mechanics of the mind, emotions, decision-making, and the energy behind money. Modern spirituality applied to finance emerges precisely to fill the gap that the old system could never bridge. Shift in perception, from scarcity to value. The first major change lies in how money is perceived. People trapped in scarcity view money as something external, difficult, limited, and inaccessible. Prosperous people understand that money is a direct consequence of generated value, internal clarity, and the alignment between thought, emotion, and action. This difference is not a coincidence. It is mental programming. Studies in behavioral psychology show that financial beliefs shape economic decisions subconsciously, influencing career choices, investments, spending habits, and even perceived opportunities. In this context, spirituality does not mean religion. It means consciousness. It means understanding that everything begins within before it manifests without. Those who ignore this principle tend to repeat the same financial mistakes, even when they earn more money. This is why so many people increase their income but remain in debt or dissatisfied. In 2026, getting rich without consciousness has become a short path to personal and financial collapse. Money as an amplifier. The new financial consciousness starts with the understanding that money amplifies who you already are. If there is internal confusion, fear, guilt, or limiting beliefs, more money will only intensify those conflicts. On the other hand, when there is clarity, emotional discipline, and purpose, money becomes a powerful tool for expansion. This is exactly what applied spirituality offers. Emotional control, long-term vision, and coherence between values and financial actions. Another essential point of this new consciousness is the end of the victim mentality. In 2026, financially successful people do not blame the government, the market, or the economy. They take total responsibility for their own financial reality. This does not mean ignoring external difficulties, but understanding that the internal response always determines the external result. This shift in posture is deeply spiritual and extremely practical at the same time. Why this is exploding on YouTube? On YouTube, this type of content is growing because it solves a real pain point. Millions of people have tried traditional methods of making money and failed, not for lack of ability, but for lack of internal alignment. Spirituality applied to money offers exactly what was missing: mental, emotional, and strategic coherence. This is why long-form videos about millionaire mindsets, the law of attraction, conscious prosperity, and spiritual wealth have such high retention, engagement, and monetization. In 2026, financial prosperity requires 3 inseparable pillars: consciousness, strategy, action. Without consciousness, strategy fails. Without strategy, action becomes empty effort. Without action, everything remains mere theory. Spirituality acts as the element that organizes these 3 pillars, eliminating self-sabotage and creating focus. Spiritually aligned individuals make better financial decisions, avoid impulsivity, and build wealth with consistency. Spirituality potentiates action. It is fundamental to understand that spirituality does not replace action, it potentiates it. It is not about waiting for the universe to act alone, but about acting in alignment with natural laws such as cause and effect, discipline, consistency, and value generation. This is the big mistake many make when mixing spirituality and money, believing that positive thinking is enough. In 2026, positive thinking without strategic action is just an illusion. If you have followed this content so far, you already realize we are talking about a deeper level of prosperity. It's not just about making quick money, but about creating a solid foundation for continuous growth. This is the mindset that differentiates those who depend on luck from those who build predictable wealth. The higher the level of consciousness, the greater the ability to see opportunities where most see problems. Redefining success. The new financial consciousness also redefines the concept of success. Success in 2026 is not just accumulating assets, but having freedom of time, mental clarity, and emotional balance. Spiritually aligned people understand that money is a means, not an end. Paradoxically, it is exactly this vision that allows them to earn more money sustainably. When money stops being an obsession, it flows more easily. At this moment, if this content is opening your mind, like the video now, this signals to the YouTube algorithm that this message is relevant and helps bring it to more people who need to escape scarcity. Subscribe to the channel to continue learning about applied spirituality and wealth creation in 2026. In the next chapter, you will understand how invisible beliefs sabotage your financial prosperity and why most people never notice these blocks. This knowledge is essential for anyone who wishes to not just survive, but thrive in an increasingly competitive and conscious world. Conceptual references. Morgan Housel, The Psychology of Money. Daniel Kahneman, Studies on Decision-Making and Financial Behavior. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. YouTube Trends. High-Ticket Spiritual/Finance Niches. Outlier Kit Careers Knowledge. Chapter 2 Invisible Beliefs and Financial Blocks. Why most people never get rich despite working hard. Most people believe they don't make money because they lack opportunity, education, or luck. This is one of the greatest financial illusions in modern history. In 2026, it has been more than proven that the primary factor separating prosperous people from those trapped in scarcity is not intelligence, effort, or social context. It is deeply rooted in visible beliefs. These beliefs operate silently, shaping decisions, behaviors, and financial outcomes without the person even realizing it. Financial beliefs are ideas about money, wealth, success, and worthiness that are internalized starting in childhood. They are formed by family, society, religion, school, and personal experiences. Seemingly innocent phrases like "money is dirty," "the rich don't go to heaven," "anyone with that much money must have stepped on someone," or "hard work is the only way to earn" create profound blocks that sabotage any attempt to prosper. In 2026, these beliefs are even more dangerous because the world demands mental flexibility and strategic vision. The subconscious conflict. The problem is that these beliefs do not operate at the conscious level. Even when someone says they want to be rich, their subconscious may be programmed to reject wealth. This internal conflict generates self-sabotage. The person procrastinates, chooses poor financial paths, abandons promising projects, or feels guilt when they earn more money. Applied spirituality enters at this exact point, helping to bring to the conscious mind that which was hidden. Studies in cognitive psychology and neuroscience show that the brain seeks coherence between internal beliefs and external actions. If you believe, even unconsciously, that you don't deserve to prosper, your brain will find ways to maintain that truth. This explains why so many people live through repetitive cycles of financial gain and loss. They earn a little more, but soon lose it. They receive opportunities, but cannot sustain the growth. It's not bad luck, it's mental programming. The 2026 Opportunity Gap. In 2026, this type of blockage becomes even more evident because income opportunities are abundant. It has never been more possible to create wealth through the internet, investments, digital businesses, and scalable assets. When someone fails to prosper in this landscape, the cause is rarely external. It is internal. And until these beliefs are identified and reframed, any financial strategy will be nothing more than a temporary fix. Modern spirituality teaches that anything not resolved internally manifests externally as a limitation. Financial blocks are a direct reflection of unresolved internal conflicts: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loss, and fear of success. Yes, the fear of success is real and extremely common. Many people associate success with loneliness, excessive responsibility, or a loss of identity, and so they unconsciously avoid growth. The myth of suffering. Another powerful block is the belief that money requires suffering. This idea is deeply rooted in many cultures. People who believe they must suffer to deserve money tend to reject intelligent, automated, and scalable income paths. They feel uncomfortable when they earn money with ease. In 2026, this belief is fatal because the market rewards efficiency, creativity, and strategic intelligence, not suffering. There is also the spiritual block of worthiness. Many people believe they aren't good enough to earn significant money. They constantly compare themselves to others, diminish their own value, and put others on pedestals. This mindset creates an invisible income ceiling. No matter how much the person studies or works, they always return to the financial level they believe they deserve. This concept is widely discussed in both the psychology of money and prosperity-focused spirituality. Breaking the cycle. On YouTube, content addressing limiting financial beliefs has high retention because it creates immediate identification. People recognize themselves in these patterns and feel a sense of relief upon understanding they aren't incapable, just conditioned. This is a key point for virality. When content reveals something the audience has always felt but never knew how to explain. To break these blocks, the first step is consciousness. You cannot change what you do not recognize. Questioning your own beliefs about money is a powerful spiritual act. Questions like, what do I really believe about wealth? What was I taught about money? Who would I be if I earned 10 times more? These questions reveal hidden patterns. From there, the process of mental reprogramming begins. This isn't immediate, but it is extremely effective when done with consistency. Conscious repetition of new ideas, exposure to content that normalizes wealth, and the deliberate practice of aligned financial decisions create new neural connections. In 2026, those who master this process build an absurd advantage over those repeating old patterns. If this chapter is helping you see your relationship with money differently, like the video now, this simple gesture helps the algorithm deliver this content to more people who need to break these blocks. Subscribe to the channel to continue this journey. In the next chapter, you will learn how to align emotions, mental frequency, and practical action to start manifesting wealth concretely in 2026. This alignment is the turning point between those who merely consume knowledge and those who truly transform their financial reality. Reliable references: Morgan Housel, The Psychology of Money; Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow; Carol Dweck, Studies on Mindset and Beliefs; Dr. Joe Dispenza, Neuroscience, Mental Habits, and Reprogramming. Chapter 3: Emotional Frequency, Energy, and Money. How to align your vibration with wealth in 2026. After understanding how financial consciousness and invisible beliefs shape your reality, it's time to move toward one of the most ignored, yet most powerful, aspects of wealth manifestation: emotional frequency. In 2026, money does not respond only to rational logic, but primarily to the continuous emotional state a person sustains. This is not empty mysticism. Psychology, neuroscience, and spirituality converge in stating that recurring emotions influence decisions, behavior, the perception of opportunities, and consequently financial results. Every emotion generates an internal state that directs action. People who live predominantly in fear, anxiety, guilt, or scarcity make defensive decisions, avoid calculated risks, and sabotage their own growth. Conversely, people who cultivate emotional states such as confidence, clarity, gratitude, and determination tend to act with more consistency, focus, and strategic intelligence. In 2026, this difference becomes even more visible because the market rewards those who know how to position themselves with security and long-term vision. Emotional coherence and financial flow. Applied spirituality teaches that money is sensitive to emotional coherence. It is impossible to desire prosperity while living emotionally in scarcity. This internal conflict generates contradictory signals that manifest as delays, blocks, and financial frustration. Many people claim they want to make money, but internally they carry anger toward wealthy people, fear of loss, or guilt for wanting more. This incoherence creates a misaligned vibration that prevents manifestation. Emotional frequency does not mean being happy all the time. It means having emotional mastery. Prosperous people do not ignore negative emotions, but they do not live trapped by them. They feel, process, and move on. In 2026, emotional intelligence becomes a financial asset. Those who do not know how to handle frustration, rejection, and uncertainty will find it difficult to sustain economic growth in a volatile world. The science of decision-making. Behavioral science shows that emotional states directly influence financial decision-making. Emotions like fear lead to impulsive or excessively conservative decisions. Emotions like euphoria lead to unnecessary risks. Emotional balance creates clarity, and clarity generates better decisions. Spirituality enters as a tool for self-regulation, helping to maintain an internal state aligned even in unstable external scenarios. Another essential point is the emotional environment. People are influenced by the emotions of the environment in which they live. Constantly living with negativity, complaining, and a scarcity mindset contaminates one's personal frequency. In 2026, those seeking prosperity must be extremely selective with information, content, and people. It is not about isolation, but about energetic and mental protection. The type of content you consume daily shapes your financial vibration. Practice and consistency. On YouTube, content about frequency, energy, and money generates high retention because it creates an emotional experience for the viewer. Long videos allow the person to enter a state of deep reflection, increasing watch time and engagement. This is why this type of content has enormous viral potential when well-structured and optimized for SEO. Aligning your frequency with wealth requires daily practice. Small emotional habits build large financial results over time. Strategic gratitude, conscious visualization, and a focus on solutions create a mental field favorable to prosperity. In 2026, these practices stop being seen as alternative and start being recognized as competitive advantages. Another important factor is the emotional relationship with time. People aligned with prosperity understand that wealth is built with consistency. They do not despair for immediate results, but they also do not fall into passivity. There is an active calm, a confidence in motion. This emotional state allows one to persevere without anxiety, which is fundamental for building scalable and sustainable income. The paradox of prosperity. Applied spirituality also teaches that resisting money creates tension. The more someone pursues money with desperation, the further they push it away. This happens because desperation communicates lack. In 2026, the paradox of prosperity is clear. The more complete and confident you feel, the more opportunities arise. This does not eliminate effort, but it eliminates the emotional weight of that effort. If this chapter is expanding your understanding of how emotions directly influence your financial reality, like the video now, this helps the YouTube algorithm understand that this content generates real value. Subscribe to the channel to continue deepening your journey. This commitment to learning is already a sign of alignment with prosperity. In the next chapter, you will learn how to transform this internal alignment into practical action, real strategies, and concrete income sources in 2026. This is the point where spirituality and money stop being concepts and become results. Reliable references. Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Emotions, Mental Habits, and Reality Creation. Antonio Damasio, Emotion and Decision Making. Napoleon Hill, Mental States and Financial Success. Chapter 4, Spirituality and Practice. How to transform internal alignment into real financial action in 2026. Up to this point, it has become clear that consciousness, beliefs, and emotional frequency directly shape your relationship with money. However, there is a decisive point where many people get stuck: the transition from internal alignment to practical action. In 2026, prosperity is not the result of correct thinking alone, but of the ability to act strategically, consistently, and in alignment. Applied spirituality does not replace action. It organizes, directs, and empowers every financial move. The most common mistake for those studying spirituality and money is believing that simply being aligned is enough for money to appear. This vision creates passivity and frustration. The truth is that internal alignment serves to eliminate self-sabotage, clarify decisions, and increase the efficiency of your actions. Spiritually aligned people act faster, make fewer mistakes, and learn more from every attempt. In 2026, this difference defines who grows and who remains stagnant. Conscious financial action. Conscious action begins with clarity of objective. Internally confused people choose confused financial paths. On the other hand, those with spiritual clarity define financial goals that are specific, measurable, and connected to a purpose. This connection reduces procrastination and increases discipline. When there is purpose, effort stops feeling heavy and becomes directed. This is applied spirituality in its most practical form. Another essential aspect is the choice of income sources. In 2026, prosperity requires intelligent diversification. Aligned individuals do not depend on a single source of income, but they also don't jump from opportunity to opportunity without a strategy. They evaluate risks, align personal skills with market demands, and build assets over time. Spirituality assists in this discernment, preventing impulsive decisions based on fear or greed. Routine as a spiritual practice. Aligned action also involves routine. Financially prosperous people don't live on motivation. They live on commitment. Applied spirituality creates structure, not chaos. Simple routines, repeated daily, generate exponential results over time. In 2026, those who understand this build a competitive advantage while the majority looks for shortcuts. Consistency itself becomes a form of practical spirituality. Another fundamental point is the relationship with error. Emotionally misaligned people see mistakes as failure. Aligned people see mistakes as feedback. This shift in perspective accelerates financial growth. In a world where new opportunities arise constantly, failing fast and learning fast is an extremely valuable skill. Spirituality helps remove the ego from the equation, allowing for continuous adjustments without self-sabotage. The digital context and wealth management. In the context of YouTube and the digital market, this principle is even more evident. Creators who unite mindset, strategy, and consistent action build monetized channels with greater stability. It isn't luck, it is applied alignment. Long-form videos, deep content, and clear positioning are the fruits of conscious decision-making, not chance. In 2026, the algorithm favors those who deliver real value with consistency. Applied spirituality also directly influences financial management. Aligned people take better care of the money they earn. They understand cash flow, avoid waste, and invest with a long-term vision. Sustainable prosperity does not exist without financial responsibility. This balance between expansion and control is one of the greatest differentiators for those building conscious wealth. Courage without guarantees. Finally, a critical factor is the courage to act even without guarantees. In 2026, the economic environment demands constant adaptation. Spiritually aligned people trust their own ability to adjust, even when they don't have all the answers. This trust reduces analysis paralysis and increases execution speed. Conscious action is born from internal trust, not external certainty. If this chapter is helping you understand how to transform consciousness into real results, like the video now, this strengthens the content's delivery by the YouTube algorithm and expands the reach of this message. Subscribe to the channel to continue learning how to bridge spirituality and practical action. In the next chapter, you will discover how to create and scale income sources aligned with this new model of prosperity, exploring real opportunities for the 2026 landscape. This is where wealth begins to take concrete form. Reliable references: Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich; James Clear, Atomic Habits, Discipline and Consistency; Morgan Housel, Emotional and Financial Management; YouTube Trends, Strategic Action and Monetization, Outlier Kit, Careers Knowledge. Chapter 5: Consciousness, Aligned Income Sources. How to create and scale wealth spiritually and strategically in 2026. After understanding how to align your mind, emotions, and actions, we reach the point where prosperity shifts from theory to a concrete financial structure. In 2026, earning money consistently requires more than isolated effort. It demands the creation of income sources aligned with consciousness, purpose, and long-term strategy. Those who truly thrive do not depend solely on a salary or luck. They build financial systems that work even when they are not present. Spirituality applied to income generation begins with a simple principle. Money flows where there is a real generation of value. When someone tries to make money just for the sake of money, without solving problems or serving real needs, growth becomes unstable. However, when there is alignment between personal talents, market demands, and conscious intention, money becomes a natural consequence. In 2026, this alignment is even more vital, as the market penalizes superficiality and rewards depth. Finding your energetic profile. The first step in creating aligned income sources is understanding your own energetic and behavioral profile. Not every financial path fits every person. Some thrive by creating content, others by selling products, others by investing, and others by building digital businesses. Spirituality helps identify where there is natural flow and where there is constant resistance. Working against your own nature indefinitely leads to exhaustion and financial blocks. In the current landscape, digital income stands out as one of the most aligned forms of conscious prosperity. Creating content, digital products, online services, and scalable assets allows for the union of time freedom, expanded impact, and financial growth. In 2026, YouTube channels, blogs, communities, and digital platforms remain powerful sources of monetization when well-structured. The differentiator is intention and consistency, not just technical skill. Assets versus active income. Another essential point is the construction of assets, not just active income. People trapped in scarcity trade time for money indefinitely. Spiritually aligned individuals seek to create something that continues to generate value over time. Assets can include evergreen content, courses, books, monetized channels, investments, or automated businesses. In 2026, those who master this concept build real financial freedom. Applied spirituality also directly influences the relationship with risk. Misaligned people either avoid all risk or take excessive risks out of greed. Aligned individuals evaluate risks with emotional clarity and strategic vision. They understand that financial growth requires calculated discomfort, not impulsivity. This posture drastically increases the chances of success in any income stream. Strategic patience and the compound effect. A decisive factor is strategic patience. Many people abandon promising projects because they don't see immediate results. In 2026, those who prosper understand the power of the compound effect. Small, consistent actions generate exponential results over time. Spirituality helps maintain confidence during the process, preventing early surrender. This combination of rational faith and disciplined action is one of the greatest competitive advantages. In the context of YouTube, for example, channels that combine deep content, well-executed SEO, and consistency build predictable income. Long-form videos increase retention time, strengthen authority, and expand monetization. When content is aligned with purpose and delivers real value, growth becomes sustainable. This isn't luck, it is conscious strategy in action. Conscious diversification. Finally, conscious diversification is fundamental. In 2026, depending on a single source of income is extremely risky. Aligned individuals create multiple financial entries that complement each other. This reduces anxiety, improves decision-making, and creates emotional stability. Spirituality teaches that internal security is reflected in external security, including financial security. If this chapter is helping you see new possibilities for creating income strategically, like the video now, this simple gesture strengthens the reach of this content and helps the YouTube algorithm distribute it to more people seeking conscious prosperity. Subscribe to the channel to continue learning about applied spirituality and wealth creation for 2026. In the next chapter, you will learn how to protect, multiply, and sustain the money that begins to flow in, avoiding the mistakes that cause many to lose everything after achieving financial growth. This knowledge is essential for turning gains into lasting wealth. Reliable references: Morgan Housel, Wealth Building and the Compound Effect. Robert Kiyosaki, The Concept of Assets and Passive Income. James Clear, Consistency and Financial Habits. Digital Trends 2026, Conscious Monetization, Outlier Kit, Careers Knowledge. Chapter 6: Protecting, Multiplying, and Sustaining Wealth. How to avoid loss and grow consciously in 2026. Creating money is only one part of the process. In 2026, the true challenge is not just earning, but maintaining, protecting, and multiplying wealth over time. Millions of people manage to increase their income at some point in their lives, but few succeed in sustaining that growth. The reason lies not just in a lack of technical knowledge, but primarily in emotional imbalance, impulsive decisions, and an absence of financial consciousness. This is where applied spirituality becomes indispensable. A major cause of wealth depletion is a lack of emotional self-control. People who have not developed internal maturity tend to spend money to compensate for frustrations, prove their worth, or fill emotional voids. In 2026, this behavior is even more dangerous because access to consumption is immediate and constant. Spirituality helps create presence and internal mastery, reducing the impulsive financial decisions that sabotage long-term growth. The illusion of security versus real stability. A critical factor is the illusion of security. Many believe that earning more money automatically generates stability. In practice, the more you earn, the greater your responsibility. Aligned individuals understand that prosperity requires organization and a long-term vision. They build liquidity reserves, emergency funds, insurance protections, and clear wealth plans before expanding aggressively. This posture isn't fear, it's applied financial intelligence. The conscious multiplication of wealth involves understanding the role of investments. In 2026, investing is no longer an option, it's a necessity. However, investing without emotional awareness leads to grave errors. Fear drives overly conservative decisions, while greed leads to excessive risk-taking. Applied spirituality acts as an emotional regulator, allowing for balanced and rational decisions. Aligned individuals invest with strategy, not out of desperation or euphoria. Diversification and identity. Another essential point is diversification. Excessive concentration of resources in a single asset or income source drastically increases risk. Spiritually aligned people understand the value of balance. They spread risks, build varied portfolios, including real assets and inflation-protected bonds, and adjust strategies as the global landscape shifts. In 2026, this flexibility is a vital competitive edge. Wealth sustainability also depends on identity. Many people lose money because internally, they still see themselves as lacking or incapable of handling large sums. This conflict generates self-sabotage. Applied spirituality helps align your identity with your financial reality. When you truly see yourself as someone capable of managing wealth, your daily decisions reflect that new identity. Digital authority and social boundaries. In the digital context, this principle is even more evident. Creators who grow fast without an emotional foundation tend to lose relevance or make strategic blunders. Conversely, those who grow with consciousness build authority and sustainable income. In 2026, the YouTube algorithm and the market favor consistency and trust over momentary explosions of luck. An often overlooked aspect is the impact of relationships on sustaining wealth. Misaligned people allow external pressures to influence their financial decisions. Aligned individuals know how to set clear boundaries, even with family and friends. This posture prevents conflicts and resentment. Spirituality teaches that helping others does not require harming yourself. Intelligent reinvestment. Conscious multiplication involves intelligent reinvestment. Prosperous people reinvest in knowledge, health, systems, and assets. They understand that sustainable growth requires continuous improvement. In 2026, investing in yourself remains one of the highest yielding strategies, provided it is done with discernment and purpose. If this chapter is helping you understand how to protect and multiply your money, like the video now, this strengthens the content's reach and helps the algorithm distribute this message to those who need to grow consciously. Subscribe to the channel to continue deepening your journey in financial management and sustainable wealth. In the next chapter, you will discover how to use the power of intention, strategic visualization, and conscious focus to accelerate financial results without losing your balance. This is one of the most sought-after and misunderstood topics in wealth manifestation. Reliable references. Morgan Housel, Risk Management and Financial Behavior, The Psychology of Money. Howard Marks, The Psychology of Investing and Market Cycles. Daniel Kahneman, Emotion, Risk, and Decision-Making. Financial Trends 2026. Wealth Protection and Diversification. BNP Paribas, JP Morgan. Chapter 7 Intention, Visualization, and Conscious Focus. How to accelerate financial results in 2026 without losing your balance. After learning how to create, protect, and multiply money, we reach one of the most powerful and most distorted points in wealth manifestation: intention, visualization, and conscious focus. In 2026, these elements are no longer treated as mysticism. Instead, they are understood as practical tools for mental, emotional, and strategic direction. When used correctly, they accelerate financial results in a consistent and sustainable way. Intention is not a vague wish. Intention is clarity accompanied by decision. People who only want money remain stuck in scarcity. People who define clear intentions create direction. At both a spiritual and psychological level, the brain responds best to specific objectives. This reduces distraction, increases focus, and improves decision-making. In 2026, a clear intention is a major differentiator in a world saturated with stimuli. The neuroscience of strategic visualization. Strategic visualization functions as a mental rehearsal. Studies in neuroscience show that the brain does not fully distinguish between a real experience and one that is intensely imagined. When you vividly visualize a desired financial scenario, you activate neural circuits associated with that state, specifically engaging the reticular activating system, RES. This primes your brain to notice opportunities, cues, and resources that you might otherwise overlook. Applied spirituality teaches us to use visualization not as a fantasy, but as internal preparation for action. The most common mistake is visualizing results without visualizing the process. Aligned individuals visualize not just the money, but the decisions, habits, and responsibilities that accompany wealth. This reduces the shock when growth begins to happen. In 2026, This mental maturity prevents self-sabotage and accelerates your adaptation to new financial levels. Conscious focus in the attention economy. Conscious focus is the element that sustains intention and visualization over time. In an environment of constant digital distraction, those who do not master their focus lose energy and opportunities. Prosperous people learn to say no to anything that does not contribute to their vision. This type of discipline is not rigidity, it is respect for your own future. Spirituality helps strengthen this focus by reducing internal noise. Another essential point is emotional coherence. Visualizing wealth while living emotionally in anxiety creates a frequency conflict. Conscious practice involves aligning emotion, thought, and action. This creates an internal state of calm confidence, which allows you to move forward without desperate haste. In 2026, this emotional stability is a powerful financial asset. The power of repetition and letting go. Repetition is fundamental. A clear intention isn't defined just once, it is reaffirmed daily. Strategic visualization isn't done sporadically, it is incorporated into a routine. Focus isn't maintained by sheer willpower, but by habit. Aligned individuals build mental systems that sustain prosperity long-term. In the context of YouTube and digital entrepreneurship, this principle is reflected in the creation of consistent, strategic content. Creators who know exactly where they want to go produce with more clarity, positioning, and authority. In 2026, channels that unite clear intention with consistent execution stand out naturally. Finally, applied spirituality teaches the importance of releasing excessive control. Paradoxically, the more you trust the process, the better you execute. This does not mean passivity, but flexibility. Aligned people adjust their routes without losing their final focus. This capacity for adaptation reduces frustration and maintains growth even in the face of challenges. If this chapter is helping you understand how intention and focus can accelerate your financial results, like the video now, this helps the YouTube algorithm understand that this content generates real transformation. Subscribe to the channel to continue deepening your journey. In the next chapter, you will learn how to integrate everything you've learned into a conscious prosperity plan for the coming years, creating stability, growth, and true financial freedom. Reliable references. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Visualization and Neuroscience. Daniel Goleman. Focus, the Hidden Driver of Excellence. Nick Frates. Science and Psychology of Visualization, 2025/2026 Research. Neuroscience Trends. The Role of the RES in Goal Attainment. Chapter 8 Conscious Prosperity Plan for 2026 and Beyond. Integrating spirituality, strategy, and sustainable execution. Reaching this point means you have already understood something that most people ignore their entire lives. Wealth is not an isolated event. It is a system. In 2026, real prosperity is not born from a single insight, a miracle technique, or a stroke of luck. It emerges from the continuous integration of spiritual consciousness, financial strategy, and disciplined execution. This chapter exists to unite everything we have learned into a clear, applicable, and sustainable plan capable of generating consistent growth over the coming years. The first pillar of this plan is long-term clarity of vision. Financially misaligned people live in a state of reaction to the present. Prosperous people build the future deliberately. In 2026, those without a clear vision of where they want to go financially get lost in distractions, poor opportunities, and impulsive decisions. Applied spirituality teaches that vision is directed energy. When vision is clear, the brain better filters information, opportunities, and paths. Translating vision into concrete systems. This vision must be translated into concrete financial goals. It is not enough to say, "I want to prosper." You must define how much, how, in what time frame, and for what reason. Spiritually aligned goals are not just numerical, they are connected to purpose, freedom, and impact. This reduces internal conflict and increases execution capacity. People who know why they want money handle the process of wealth building much more effectively. The second pillar is strategic structure. In 2026, prosperity requires systems. Income systems, decision systems, learning systems, and financial protection systems. People who live on financial improvisation tend to swing between growth and collapse. Structured people create predictability. Applied spirituality helps build this structure with balance, avoiding both excessive rigidity and total disorganization. This structure includes well-defined income sources, consistent work or production routines, conscious financial management, periodic strategy reviews to adjust, not to doubt, execution, energy, and identity. The third pillar is disciplined execution with emotional balance. Many know what to do, but few do it consistently. The difference lies in internal mastery. Spiritually aligned people do not depend on momentary motivation. They build habits and maintain constancy even when enthusiasm wanes. This is one of the greatest secrets of sustainable prosperity. Another essential element of the plan is the conscious management of personal energy. Time, attention, and emotional energy are resources as valuable as money. In 2026, wasting energy on conflicts, comparisons, and information overload compromises financial growth. Applied spirituality teaches us to preserve energy for what truly matters. This reflects directly on productivity and the clarity of your decisions. The plan also requires continuous learning. Prosperous people regularly invest in relevant knowledge, understanding that skills must be updated. In 2026, learning is not about accumulating information, but about developing discernment, knowing what to apply and what to ignore. Identity update. Finally, there must be coherence between your identity and your financial behavior. It is useless to execute the strategies of wealthy people if, internally, you still see yourself as limited. The plan requires an identity update, thinking, deciding, and acting as someone who builds conscious wealth. This shift happens gradually through small, daily decisions aligned with your larger vision. In the context of YouTube and digital business, this translates into clear positioning, consistent content, a focus on real value, and intelligent monetization. In 2026, the algorithm favors depth, consistency, and authenticity. This is not a passing trend. It is the structural direction of the platform. The power of the conscious pause. It is also essential to include moments of conscious pausing. Prosperity is not constant acceleration. Aligned individuals know when to push forward and when to recalibrate. This prevents burnout and poor decision-making. Spirituality teaches that resting is not stopping growth, but preparing for the next level. If this chapter is helping you see prosperity as an integrated system, like the video now, this helps the YouTube algorithm understand the depth and relevance of this content. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving strategic content on spirituality and wealth creation. In our final section, we will reach the conclusion, where everything will be consolidated clearly and powerfully, so you can leave this video with a new posture and a new commitment to your conscious financial prosperity. Reliable references. Morgan Housel, Financial Planning and Human Behavior. James Clear, Systems, Habits, and Consistent Execution, Atomic Habits. Peter Drucker, Strategic Vision and Long-Term Management. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Identity, Intention, and Behavior Change. Final sentences on manifesting wealth in 2026. The consolidation of the spiritual plus financial formula. Reaching the end of this content is not common. Most people abandon the process halfway through, not due to a lack of capability, but due to a lack of depth, focus, and commitment. If you are here, it is because something within you recognized that financial prosperity in 2026 demands a new level of consciousness. This video was not created to entertain, but to provoke a real shift in how you view money, spirituality, and practical action. Throughout every chapter, it has become clear that wealth is not an isolated event, but the result of continuous alignment between mind, emotions, decisions, and behavior. Applied spirituality has shown that there is no sustainable wealth without consciousness, just as there is no true consciousness without responsibility. This integration is what separates those who repeat cycles of scarcity from those who build prosperity consistently and predictably. The power of integration. You have understood that invisible beliefs shape your financial reality, that emotions drive decisions, that action without alignment causes burnout, and that alignment without action causes stagnation. This understanding puts you ahead of the majority. In 2026, the world rewards those who can unite internal clarity with external execution. It is no longer about choosing between spirituality or money, but about understanding that one empowers the other when used correctly. It has also become evident that prosperity requires structure. Creating aligned income sources, protecting and multiplying what is earned, investing in yourself, and building financial systems are inevitable steps for anyone desiring real freedom. Money ceases to be an end and becomes a tool for expansion, impact, and autonomy. This shift in perspective is profoundly spiritual and extremely practical. Identity and responsibility. Another essential point consolidated here is the role of identity. There is no sustainable financial growth without an internal update. As you change how you think, feel, and decide, your external reality responds. This process is not magic, but it is deeply transformative when conducted with discipline and consistency. In 2026, those who do not update their financial identity remain tethered to old results. This content has also made it clear that prosperity does not mean the absence of challenges. On the contrary, growing financially requires emotional maturity, adaptability, and responsibility. Applied spirituality does not eliminate difficulties. It provides the internal tools necessary to handle them without collapsing. This stability is the true luxury in an increasingly unstable world. The formula for the future. If there is one central message that must remain clear, it is this. Wealth is built from the inside out, but it requires concrete action in the real world. Thinking differently without acting produces no results. Acting without consciousness creates burnout. The combination of both creates sustainable growth. This is the formula redefining success in 2026. Now the decision is in your hands. Knowledge without application does not transform. This video will only fulfill its purpose if you apply, even in a simple way, what you have learned. Small, consistent changes generate massive results over time. Prosperity does not happen all at once. It is built daily. Final call to action. If this content added value to your life, like the video now. This helps the YouTube algorithm understand that this message deserves to reach more people ready to evolve financially. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving deep content on applied spirituality, the millionaire mindset, and conscious wealth creation. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Share this content with someone who needs to expand their financial consciousness. Prosperity grows when it is shared. The more people elevate their relationship with money, the more the system as a whole transforms. In 2026, those who understand this build wealth with impact, purpose, and freedom. Remember, the world does not reward intention, it rewards aligned action. Use this knowledge. Apply it. Adjust. Continue. The prosperity you seek is not outside. It begins now, in the decision to take total responsibility for your financial and spiritual evolution. Reliable references foundational to this content. Morgan Housel, The Psychology of Money. Daniel Kahneman, Behavior, Decision-Making, and Risk. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Consciousness, Identity, and Behavior Change. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. 2026 YouTube Trends. High-income spiritual and financial niches.